Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another. It's Monday night at 6. You know what time it is. It means it's the Sully Squad is back for another episode here. We got a lot to get into. We got, Phillies. Last time we did this show, Sean, Phillies were really struggling. It was nice to see that they kind of got it back a little bit. A nice 4-2 homestand. I'm hoping, with a big October run, that we're looking at that Schwarber home run as kind of like one of them turning point type moments, because, if you remember, they were down, 5-2 at the time. And then Schwarber comes up and hits the big salami. Next thing you know, they come back, they won 4 in a row. And then, unfortunately a hiccup yesterday. And a huge series coming up with the Atlanta Braves. Phillies got a 7-game lead. Hopefully take 2 or 3 and kind of keep them at bay. Number one, you just don't want to get swept, obviously, but but it'd be nice to take 2 or 3 and continue playing well. And then of course we're going to get in a lot of Eagles. We got roster cut downs coming up after this next game coming up. And the Sixers made a nice move. Sean, you had told me. I know I got a text from you yesterday. I was throwing the football around with Joey. The Sixers signed a French forward. Good luck with me trying to pronounce his name. It's Gershon Yabusele, aka that's French for dunking on LeBron.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, and supposedly LeBron didn't really like it, but, it is what it is, man. So take your bumps and move on, And I'm happy with the Sixers, too, so let's get it.
Yeah, it is what it is. So we're going to get into all that. I got my man Sean with me. Not sure if Diego's hopping on tonight, but, I got me and Sean will we'll hold down the fort here. I got a comment already here. I got my man John Michael. He said, "Let's go." What's up, John? How you doing, bro?
John? Thank you.
So, listen, I want to get into a lot of Eagles talk, because obviously, Sean, we love baseball, but me and you have been talking football for over 30 years. You know what I mean? So I want to really get a deep dive into some of these roster cuts and training camp, but I gotta get into these Phillies, man, and like we touched on, a 4-2 homestand, and that was nice, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Rob Thompson, Sean. I like Rob Thompson. I like the way he handles the clubhouse. It seems like the players like him.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you. I gotta rip him a little bit, bro.
Absolutely, and I know where you're coming to and what you're going to get to.
Well,
and you have every right to.
I understand off days, okay? I understand off days, especially with JT Realmuto, because JT plays the catcher position. It's a tough position. The guy had an injury earlier in the year. He's been struggling. Okay, you want to give JT a Sunday off? I'm not going to necessarily fault you on that, okay? Price has been struggling. You want to give him a day off? Okay, I'm not going to fault you on that. Bottom line is, though, we're fighting for one of the top 2 seeds in the National League because, if the Phillies finish third, you got to play that first series. You have to play that 3-6 series, which, by the way, could be like an Arizona Diamondbacks who have our number. I want no parts of that fucking team, right?
That's small ball team. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And, I'm sorry, bro, but I'm sick and tired of this bullshit of again, I like the way he handles the clubhouse, but this bullshit with it's a rest day. The next time I got to watch, Sean, I'm drawing a blank on the outfielder. Who the hell's the outfielder you just called up? Who was it?
Cam Stevenson. Why? I'm going to help you out with that. Why would you have Cam Stevenson when you got Bryce Harper, JT, all these guys that are your star athletes? Why aren't they playing? What if the people are paying harder and for season tickets a day for that game because it was Alumni Day. You're looking forward to seeing those players, like you said. And when Bryce ain't in, come on, man. And you got Cam Stevenson. No offense, but you want to see Bryce.
Well, it was a buzzkill because
it might was.
Again, I understand that 162 games is a long stretch, and I understand that Bryce was struggling, but they had off today. You know what I'm saying? And you got the leadoff guy on you get the leadoff guy on in the ninth inning yesterday, and you got Finnegan. Now Finnegan's a pretty good closer. You can't tell me that he wouldn't be a little bit more nervous if instead of Stevenson, you put Bryce Harper up with the guy on first and nobody out. All of a sudden, maybe those butt cheeks get a little bit more clenched, bro. Maybe he walks Bryce. Maybe he tries so hard he leaves one over the plate. Maybe Bryce takes him deep. You know what I'm saying? Instead, he leaves Stevenson in the game. He grounds into a double play. Now, it was a great play by Finnegan. I mean, the Finnegan made a hell of a play.
Absolutely. If he ain't tall, he ain't getting that, like you said. But all in all, Bryce should have been up there. Plain and simple.
Totally agree, okay? So, Stevenson grounds into a double play. And then all of a sudden at that point, game's pretty much – then Stubbs is up. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude, Stubbs blows. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I know that Stubbs is great at parties and all that shit. He's a
vibe man. He's a vibe man. You're right. When it comes down to me and you talk via text, you need Marshawn. Marshawn is that heir apparent probably too, JT. And he does have the stuff. He proved it why he was up here, why JT was on the IL. And to us as fans, we want him backing him up. Stubbs is nothing but a vibe guy. And I hope to see, like you said, and I said, in the postseason when it comes, Marshawn's on, when they make that roster. He has to be.
And you're not going to see it, Sean. I feel like I don't think you're going to see it. I think what will happen is, next year you may see Marshawn. I mean, I'm just going by, because in the playoffs, if JT is healthy, the backup catcher's not going to play anyway. So Stubbs will be up here. You know what I'm saying? But
would you rather have the vibe guy? God forbid if something were to happen to JT. Vibe guy or Marshawn? Marshawn all day.
Well, one thing is, though, if something did happen to JT, then Marshawn does come up. You know what I mean? So, but
I'm not worse. I'm not hoping that. I'm just saying in my personal opinion, because like you said, Stubbs is a vibe guy. That's all.
Yeah, I got a couple comments here. Dave Yarnell says, "Hey, fellas, how is everybody doing tonight?
Good, man.
Doing pretty good, Dave. And listen, a 4-2 homestand. I mean, I'm not gonna it. I'm kind of pissed off at Topper, but at the end of the day, I mean, a 4-2 homestand, it is hard to sweep a Major League Baseball team 4 straight days, even if they're the White Sox. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not totally. All in all, I'm pretty pleased with how this week went. I'm just a little sick and tired though of like these give up lineups, like the give up lineup. I'm sick of. I'm tired of the shit because. If I'm sitting here in October, whatever the playoffs start, I don't know, October 5th or whatever it is, and if the Philadelphia Phillies finish third by 1 game, because Milwaukee caught us or the Dodgers caught us, I'm going to think back to days like this where we could have had Bryce Harper pinch hitting. Instead, we have Stevenson up because he just decides, oh, well, they're having an off day.
No.
Now, Now, Sean, I ask you this question. If they didn't have an off day today, now it's funny because I'm ripping the shit out of them, kind of. If they played today, I probably wouldn't come at them so hard.
Yeah.
But the fact you had off today is why I'm so pissed off. You know what I mean? Because basically, you have an off day today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, so basically, he gave him a 2-day rest. All right, that's fine and dandy, but like I said before, I'm the fan. I've got season tickets. I'm paying damn good money. I want to see him in there, like regardless, because and like you said, he changes the outcome. Finnegan, does he pitch to him? Does he walk him? Like those players can get into a pitcher's head because he's that damn good. But we didn't know because he wasn't in.
Well, here's the other thing too. So you got the leadoff guy on, right? The double play killed everything because let's keep it real.
Yes.
Schwarber was in the 4-hole.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Schwarber's in the 4-hole. So if you don't ground in the double play, if you somehow get Schwarber up to bat, I mean, yeah, okay. The odds of him going deep weren't the greatest, but he's still a threat to go deep. You know what I mean? And then right behind Schwarber, you got Trey Turner, who now here's where I will give Topper a little bit of credit. I will give him credit on this. He picked his nuts up. And actually benched Turner. And ever since he benched Turner that game, Turner's been killing it. So I'll give Topper credit for that one. But the bottom line is, though, you can't have dudes like this Stevenson and Stubbs up here in these big freaking games.
No. When
you know what I'm saying?
Like, exactly. You could probably swept that series, but we didn't. But like you are and I am saying, we want those star players in, our Harpers and all that other good stuff.
Like I said, my only point, I mean, I'd rather be mostly positive because they were 4-2. Okay, like, we were in a big time slump. They turned it around. All right, I'll try to look at I prefer to look at the glass as half full. Yeah. But yesterday, the ninth inning did piss me off a little bit yesterday because I just don't understand how you're really breaking the guy's balls that bad to have him bat one time. You know what I mean? When you got the next game off. I'm sorry. I just never going to understand it.
He did something that he probably shouldn't have done, and I hope he regrets it, but it doesn't happen again. Like you said, you need these guys in.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I saw on X, and not to bring up, like, I mean, I don't think it's a controversy, but like John Middleton was making some comments basically talking about how the team was playing like 700 ball, and then all of a sudden, they're playing 350, and since the All-Star break, and he basically was kind of making a comment saying like, hey, maybe some things need to change, maybe you need to change an approach or something, and the guy Hunter Brody put on there. He's like, is he ripping Topper a little bit? I'll tell you what, if this team goes one and done in October, I think Topper's done.
I really, the thing you sent me, that points the finger right at Topper, Mr. Analytics, like we said. I think really he's that nice guy. He's not that loud vocal coach, man. But all in all, that guy's spending the big bucks, Middleton, whether it's players, etc. We got the best pitching coach. That was pointed to Topper to be like, get your head out of your ass. From start, we were 700 team. Now we're kind of like up and down. Hopefully we go back up that mountain.
Well, not to be a dick, right? Like, I mean, again, we all understand that guys need days off at times, but imagine you own this team and your payroll's like $200 and some million, and you're paying these dudes all this money. Okay, you probably understand. Hey, you know what? Bryce is a little tired. All right, JT's a little tired. All right, we'll give him the day off. But sure as shit, you're probably kind of when in the ninth inning when you're watching Stevenson bat, you're like, yo, what the hell is this bullshit? Put Bryce up.
Oh,
if I own the team, I'm like, dude, man, like not for nothing, dude. I'm paying like good ass money. Like, yo, like I'm only asking the dude to bat one fucking time. I'm not asking you to run a marathon.
Yeah, really. Just see what he could do. It could be a positive outcome. It could be a negative outcome. But you're right. I totally agree. But yeah, Topper better get his head out of his ass. Put it that way,
Like I said, man, I'm saying I don't want to harp on it. Meanwhile, we're harping on it, but it just watching Stevenson and Stubbs make the last 2 outs of yesterday's game just really pissed me off. It left a bad, for a good homestand, it left a bad taste in my mouth, especially considering that now we're going to Atlanta. We had a chance to come back yesterday, be up 8 going to Atlanta. Now we're up 7, and now I mean, the division's probably. It would take a pretty big collapse to lose this division. It's especially with all these Braves injuries, which, by the way, Dave Arnold with a comment here. He says, "Did you guys see Austin Riley's out 6 to 8 weeks? He got hit on the hand on a wild pitch. So that's another big injury there. So I mean, the division's looking good, but I want the 1 or 2 seed, particularly the 1, and pissing away games like yesterday could cost you that." I got another comment here. John Michael says, dude, I get the off day, but Jesus Christ, you're asking these dudes to take a 5-minute at bat. That's not that big a deal. We could have came back and won that game, and now we were then we were cooking going into Atlanta. Well, that's kind of what we're saying, right?
Yeah, but Johnny, wouldn't you rather have Harper up than a Cam Stevenson?
That's what he's saying. Yeah, he's agreeing with us.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I know.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more, John. Really.
So we'll see what happens. All right. So, I mean, all in all, we enter this week. The Phillies enter this week up 7 games. Huge series versus Atlanta. I think Wheeler and Nola go games 1. I think it's Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we got the Kansas City Royals. Don't take them lightly.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the Royals are playing great ball, and that's actually going to be a really big series too, because Suarez is supposedly coming back in that one. And in my opinion, the two biggest keys to this baseball team in the playoffs is Suarez and Alvarado, and I think you got to get Alvarado going.
Yeah.
Got another comment here. John Michael says, "Can we get a solid start and a big spot from Nola?"
I'm right there with you. It's like we said, Joey, last week. He's not a 1. He's a 2 or 3. But the dude every game serves up 1 or 2 meatballs. And, I mean, hopefully he doesn't do it against the Braves. But, that's kind of the way it is with him this year,
Well, he did. Now, I will give him props. I mean, he did, he got shelled. He got, he struggled against if you look at his overall numbers, he actually pitched decent against the Dodgers in LA, but he had that 1 bad inning where he gave up like 4 runs, and that changed the whole complexion of that ball game. So I'm not going to give him props for that. The Arizona game, he got shelled. I'll give him credit. He did pitch very good Friday night against Washington.
Yeah.
So I'll give him credit for that. But to John Michael's point, though, this will be a big spot versus Atlanta. Yeah, so nice. We need Aaron Nola to come up big in a big spot. Not saying he never does, because I mean, if you look at the postseason, he's hit or miss for every. Yeah. For every Cardinals, for every start in St. Louis and the home game against Atlanta, he's got a San Diego game 2 and he's got a World Series game 1. You know what I'm saying? And then like last year you got the Florida Marlins. He pitched great. The first game versus Arizona, he pitched great. Game 6 comes up small. So, you never Nola, like we talked about this many times, Sean, like, Nola's great to have on the staff because he gives you a lot of innings.
Yes,
he's an innings eater. He's reliable. He's great over the course of 162. But to John Michael's point, sometimes in these big spots, I got to be honest with you, I don't have the most confidence in him. I just don't. You know, he just serves up them gopher balls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know, with Atlanta, back to Atlanta series, you know, you got Albies out, Austin Riley, Strider, Acuna. This is your time now to pounce on this team. Like, take no prisoners, you know. You got to watch out for your Marcell Ozuna. Michael Harris is back. You know, Olsen. You got and what's the name? What's the catcher's name that we had? He has on. You know, so hopefully this series is pretty good for us, and we don't shit the bed. You know.
All right. So speaking of this series, so let's go into this.
Go ahead.
All right. Now, before we do this show next, actually, you know what? I'll go the next 2 weeks just for the hell of it. But before we do this show next week, we have Philadelphia Phillies got 3 in Atlanta, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then a tough weekend series in Kansas City for 3.
Mm-hmm.
But then the following week they come home, but it doesn't get any easier.
Houston.
You got 3 at home against the red hot Houston Astros, who, by the way, like a month and a half ago, they were like a month and a half, 2 months ago, people were talking about selling. Now all of a sudden, remember Dennis Green back in the day? They are who we thought they were.
Yes.
That's the Houston Astros, bro. A couple months ago, they looked like they were like in last place or right in front of the A's, and people were like, "Damn, what the hell happened to the Astros?" Well, right now, they are who they thought, who we thought they were. They're in first place, exactly where we thought. So, so then they have a 3-game series with Houston, and then a 4-game series here with the Braves next weekend. So, you know, if you think about this, I mean, you know, 7 games with the Braves over the course of the next 11 days. They better, you know, now is the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now is the time. I mean, if somehow the Phillies like drop 5 of those 7 games, we're looking at a pennant race.
I have a good feeling. You know, the Kansas City series is what I'm going to be watching out for more, you know, because that team is front to back offense, you know, Bobby Witt, Vinny Pasquini, you know, Salvador Perez still booming them at 34, you know, Melendez, you know, you got a lot of guys on that team that are kind of like our team, but maybe a slight bit better, maybe, you know, but that's how I see it. So.
All right, so let's just look at the next 6 here, because we'll be on next Monday. Mm-hmm. So 3 in Atlanta, 3 in Kansas City. What are the Phillies doing? Where are we at? Where are we at by next Monday night?
4-2.
4-2. Okay. All right. I'll take that. Now, is that with 2 out of 3 in Atlanta or 2 or 1 out, or you know what I mean? Like how is that? Oh no, I'm sorry. That would be 2. That would be possibly 2 out of 3. So you think 2 out of 3 both places?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell you what, I'd sign up. I'll sign up for that right now.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Sticking to it.
You know what? I'm gonna stick right with you, Sean. I'm gonna say 4-2, 2 out of 3 both places, and if that's the case, the Phillies are looking at about an 8 or 9 game lead in the division by next Monday. Now, of course, then you got Houston coming here.
Yes.
And you got, but if the Phillies can stay, as far as the division goes, if the Phillies can stay a solid 8 up by the big 4-game series versus Atlanta, then at that case, you know, even if you went 2-2 here, you're looking pretty good as far as division. Then it's then it's basically like, all right, got to beat Milwaukee out, got to beat, Dodgers, Arizona, San Diego, whoever wins the West, get that 1 or 2 seed, and you're looking pretty good.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. You know what? I think that works. And hey, man, Houston coming. I mean, dude, I haven't forgotten 2022. So you know what I mean. So I'd like to put something on them.
Well, me and you were at watching one of the playoff games. It was like a kick in the junk, dude. Just to see what they accomplished and to get that far, and then to just shit the bed, basically. That's what you could say. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we left PJ Wheelhands like looking at each other like, really? Did this just happen?
I remember we kind of had that Mitch Williams. We kind of had that 93 Mitch Williams feeling because, again, not to keep with the theme of shitting on Topper, but remember Zach Wheeler was pitching great, and then he takes him out. He picks Alvarado in, and then Alvarez takes him deep.
Yep, and that's something.
You know what I mean?
Back to Alvarado. Like Ben Davis in Barkan said, his velocity is dropping. You got to pick it up, bro. Get it back up in the hundreds. I don't know if it's a head game thing or whatever, but something you got to be that Alvarado that everybody knows and loves, not the one serving up home runs and stuff like that. Like the bullpen too. It was kind of shocking to see them give up like 2 home runs. You know what I mean? The way they've been performing. Your Hoffmans. Strom is probably the only bright spot to kind of keep it going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Michael Papernick Jr. says Robbie wants to use a bullpen by committee either tomorrow or Thursday. To me, either day makes no sense, especially Thursday is Sanchez's spot, which makes no sense. This is all on Robbie. I have no way, man. I can't necessarily defend him with some of these moves. So,
yeah, it's some of them are head scratchers, like we said, but he better not pull another Cam Stevenson and no Harper. Put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, it's I don't get it. I just Cam Stevenson, I'm just not getting, Sean.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, and getting back to my Astros hate, and I mean, this is sacrilegious as a Phillies fan, but I've told you this story back in 2017. I'm a diehard Phillies fan, as you know what I mean? Yeah. I grew up here, but I had a partial Yankees plan in 2017 because I thought, because they were making a run, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I can get playoff tickets. Fuck it,
Mm-hmm.
So I had tickets for game 3 against the Dodgers, and the Yankees were up 3-2, went back to Houston. All I had to do was win 1 game, and I'm watching Game 7 as if I had money on it. Now I didn't have money on it, but I had about $2,000 coming to me if the Yankees had won that game. So, needless to say, not as much as I hate the Astros for 2022, and I definitely do, I hate those pricks for 2017 too, because I was really hoping to get that $2,000. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because it was going to be Yankees Dodgers World Series, and that was a nice seller. So
damn right. For sure.
Screw the Astros, bro. We got to get some revenge. John Michael says Stevenson is better than Stubbs, though.
Yeah.
That's not that hard. Michael Papernick Jr. with a comment. He says Robbie during the losing streak wouldn't even shake up the lineup. Also, batting Stott or Marsh 5th completely makes no sense during that streak and possibly in the future.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree. I mean, both of them, especially. Well, actually, you could say either one, but like you look at Marsh though, dude. I mean, now what's funny is that we're ripping them, and I understand why Mike's ripping them too, because they do deserve to get ripped. But yesterday they went back to back on home runs, so let's knock on wood and hope that maybe they're turning it around. But the bottom line is, though, Marsh in particular. I mean, I think I read a stat where he struck out like 40 some times out of like 100 at bats. Like, dude, that's almost impossible. And
yes, it is.
And you know what's messed up though? He only has 12 home runs.
Yeah.
If you're gonna strike out that much, you better be hitting homers like Ryan Howard, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Shave the facial hair and get a nice short haircut and call it a day. See if it changes you.
Another comment. Michael Papernick Jr. says Robbie gives the big FU to the fans in his non-moves.
Pretty much.
Yeah, kind of. You know what yesterday reminded me of? Remember 97? Scott, the Phillies sucked balls. They were fucking horrible. Maybe it was not. I don't actually. You know what? It might not have been 97. Maybe it was 98. Whatever.
I think it was 98.
Okay, but it was Scott Rowland Day, and Terry Francona was the manager here, and all these people for a shitty ass team bought these tickets for Scott Rowland Day on Scott Rowland Day, and he sat them, bro.
Yeah, I remember.
That's what yesterday reminded me of. Like I'll never forget, dude. It was like it was kind of like a talking point on WIP. Like, remember back in the day, WIP like never talked baseball back then, but they talked baseball that day.
Yeah. Shell shocker to sit Scott Rowland. Come on, man.
Yeah. Here's my man Mike Laura. He says, "Yo, fellas, how's it going? What's up, Mike? How you doing, bro?
What's up, Mike?
Make sure you check my man Mike out on Sundays on the Edge of Philly. Him and PM in the AM. They got a great show on Sunday mornings at 9:00. So make sure you check them out. But actually, I was watching some of them yesterday. They were talking about Eagles Kellen, which we're going to get into in a couple minutes. Eagles offense, Kellen. I wanted to say Kellen Clemens. It's Kellen Moore, right? Yeah, Kellen Moore. Yeah. I don't know where I got Kellen Clemens at, but
I think quarterback from Oregon.
Yeah, there was a Kellen Clemens, right?
Yeah, that's what.
All right.
Yeah, you get a pass.
There you go. Michael Papernick Jr. says Robbie tries to be smart on his moves. He has no clue to make a baseball move outside of analytics, even going back to Arizona in the playoffs last year.
Yep. Small ball beat us. You know what I mean? And hopefully we bring that come the postseason. Not let's hit a home run and all this other stuff. Do like they did. Take a page out of their notebook. But you're right.
Oh, hang on. I got another comment. Mike Laura says James Franklin still sucks, Sean.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And one more. Carson Strong forever.
Yeah. I heard
That's
he's
right.
got a knee. He's got a knee.
I'll tell you what.
From a horse.
We all need a ride or die as much as Mike Laura was a ride or die for Carson Strong. I've never seen a guy be like a ride or die. So remember we did the show last year? Mike Laura was like, Carson Strong might wind up starting for this team. And we're like, oh, and we're like, I remember thinking like, all right, dude, like, hey man, I'd love to see another Kurt Warner story. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's awesome, dude. But yeah, man, like we said though, like getting back to Michael Papernick Jr.'s comments about Rob Thompson, I've had my issues with his moves, man. But I guess the one thing is, a lot of times they do pay off. So it's like, you don't want to totally shit on the dude, but like for instance, last year, Game 4 versus Atlanta. I mean, Matt Strom didn't have the year last year that he had the start of this year. Remember Matt Strom. If Matt Strom doesn't close that game out, we're screwed. You know what I mean? But it worked. So it's hard for me to bury a guy when the move works. You know what I mean? So, But anyway, we can talk Phillies all day long. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into the little Eagles here. What do you think, Sean? We got one. We
Absolutely.
got one. We got what? One preseason game left.
Yeah, Minnesota at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. So, uh, I don't know. What were your thoughts on the new? I mean, I gotta be honest with you. It's hard to get a lot out of this preseason, man. Like,
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
did you get any? What was your takeaways from that game in New England? And anything in particular? I mean, my only one, honestly, was that I thought N'Kobe Dean looks like he's actually coming on a little bit, and then also Tanner McKee. And it's hard to judge because McKee's going out with like the third string and Pickett's going out with like the second string. But McKee, to me, looks much more comfortable in the pocket than Kenny Pickett did. What was your takeaways from the game?
Same thing with the quarterbacks. Tanner McKee, Cody, Kenny Pickett, Kenny Five Gloves Pickett, whatever. I think Tanner McKee has that reason being he's 6'3", he's tall, he can see the field more. Where Pickett, is that veteran. Has more games under his belt, but I'll take the size and intangibles of Tanner McKee over Pickett, in my opinion. And what stood out to me is Nagata, the kid, second-year kid from Clemson, 6'3", 215, 88 yards, and I think a couple good solid catches and runs, And then Will Shipley, man, I think we found our backup to Saquon, So
I agree. At least in the future. I mean, because
yeah,
they seem to love Gainwell, so Gainwell might still be the second guy this year. But yeah, I mean, I think Gainwell's only signed through this year, and if Shipley balls out, it's a pretty good bet that Shipley's going to be the guy, number 2 next year.
Absolutely. And like Mike Kaepernick's point, Dean, yeah, he's got to show up and show out because one thing that's down on him is he's undersized for that linebacker. Where you got Trotter's son, Junior, he's just showing he can tackle and play at the next level. Where people kind of were doubting him, but it's in his bloodline and the way his pop played. We know what the Axeman brought. So now you got the little hatchet coming here. Going to prove a point. And I think he will. I think Fangio's going to get a good idea for this defense. And before I get your comment, I like the fact that Fangio is in the booth because he can see that whole field. Nitpick,
I agree.
Pick and choose, see his players. I mean, all players, but the players that he has out there, use them to their best of ability. And Avonte Maddox, to me, whoop-de-doo, he got an interception. I'm not sold on him. Is he a backup in those cases? Hell yeah. But he's not starting. And Burntberry, who knows where he's going to go, Is he trade bait? Does he stay? Does he go?
Yeah.
It remains to be seen. But, they edged out a 14-13 win. And, that's it.
Well, I think any trade value that Bradbury had is off the board after the last game. He looked like shit a few of those plays. And Trot Jr.'s looked great through most of training camp and the first game. Trot Jr. struggled a little bit this past game. It's a little concerning to me. And again, I know he's had a sack both of these first 2 games, but to me, it's concerning that Nolan Smith is still out there playing in like the third and fourth quarter. Like, to me, that tells me that the coaches aren't really loving what they're seeing out of him. And in all fairness, both of his sacks were kind of like broken plays. The sack against Baltimore, I think nobody blocked him. The sack against New England, the back tried to chip him. Now I'll give him credit for. I will give Nolan Smith credit that he is hustling out there. You got to give the kid credit.
He's got first step speed. Exactly. You're right.
Yeah, he's hustling out there. Got to be honest with you, man. He looks really small, dude. You know what I mean?
He is. If he works on his but like we said, the game is much faster. Guys are way bigger. But if he can get that first step technique, like almost like Reggie White-esque, boom, sky's the limit. But like you said, he's kind of undersized, almost like even the Kobe Dean,
He's so little, bro. Remember, like me and you were both Notre Dame guys. Like, remember when they're like, he's so little, Like, I feel like saying that when I watch Nolan Smith. You know what I'm saying?
I love his technique, but you're going to go against bigger and faster guys. Plain simple, And back to the O-line, Steen, how about him getting hurt? And now I heard Michael Becton went down a little gimpy today or whatever.
Supposed to be serious though.
Okay, but first the guy that I like, Trevor Keegan, he played
good.
Dude, I told you, the kid is good. He played. I watched a little bit of Michigan games, unfortunately, but look at what that team did. But his feet are quick, man. And Stoutland is going to bring out the best and make you the best. He's going to, it's awesome. I love it. I love the fact.
I was going to say the only thing I'm wondering about him, and I think he's looked really good too. Mm-hmm. The only thing I'm kind of questioning, I'm not questioning, but he's only played left guard, and that's Landon Dickerson's position, which obviously, I mean, hey, it'd be nice to. Of course, you want to have a good backup. So Keegan as the backup to Dickerson, hey, that's great. But he looks so good at left guard. Like, I'd like to see them. I'm sure they'll do it eventually, but I'd like to see them maybe give him some tick at right guard. See if he can handle the right guard position too. You know what I mean? Because that way, if Becton or Steen go down, he could kind of play both positions.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing that. Like you said, you got to hone your skills. And in Stoutland's, the way Stoutland prepares players, be diverse, be multitask. You know what I mean? Like, look at Cam Jurgens now with center. I can't wait to see this offense, Joe, and I know you can't, because Kellen Moore, a lot of man in motion, tight end involved, heavy running it with the running backs, Jalen under center. I mean, we can go on and on. I mean, I hope we see 2022 Hurts.
Yeah.
And, that would be awesome, special, And I think I'm having this feeling. I think Devontae is going to kind of, when I say outperform, just have better plays, bigger plays than AJ this season. But all in all, they're both going to bring it for you and give it to you. But I think Devontae is going to have a nice season.
I agree. I agree with you, and I got this comment. We were talking about Tanner McKee earlier. John Michael says, I like Tanner, but in all fairness, he's going against dudes that will be tending bar in downtown in a couple weeks. Pickett's facing starter and second string guys. I hear you, but the one thing I'll say about Tanner McKee, though, he looks very comfortable out there. Like he almost looks a little bit like Nick Foles to me.
Exactly. Cool pocket. Yeah, cool as a clam. Yeah. Right.
I'll never forget.
Area. Yeah.
I'll never forget. Paul Spencer says, "What's up, fellas?"
What's up, Paul?
I'll never forget. And listen, I preface this by saying I'm far from some football expert. You know what I mean? I'm just a regular fan, just like everybody else. You know what I mean? Like we all talk shit. I'm wrong probably 90% more than I'm right. You know what I mean? But I remember Nick Foles' rookie year that I went out and watched him, and it was the game. Remember the game against Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
Nick Foles started. All right, so the Eagles sucked that year. Andy Reid, it was Andy Reid's last year. We blew. We're losing the game. I think they're down 2 touchdowns. Nick Foles brings them in for a touchdown with like 4 or 5 minutes left. Then he hits Macklin with like no time left. And I remember telling Janelle, like I got home, I told my ex-wife, I was like, she's like, oh, how was the game? And I was like, well, it was pretty good. Obviously they stink, but there's something about this Nick Foles kid. He's got a presence. Now, I'm not saying Tanner McKee is Nick Foles. That's not where I'm going with this. Yeah. And obviously preseason playing against third stringers is much more different than playing regular season versus starters. But, sometimes you can see a guy has a certain presence about him. Like, to me, like, I don't know. I watched Tanner McKee play, and he seems to have like a quiet confidence about him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see him in the huddle, he seems like he's in control out there, and I like it.
He's that silent killer, like they say, so.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, and obviously the guys like him. They get along great with him. And, he's taking every bit of time to grab hold of every opportunity out there for him, And it could happen.
I've got a couple more comments here. Michael Papernick Jr. says, best thing to happen to the Eagles is Vic Fangio as he's Nick Sirianni's Jim Johnson. I kind of agree. I'm always partial to that old, that old school defensive coordinator. I kind of like the new school OC and the old school DC. You know what I'm saying? Here's our man Paul Spencer with a comment. He says, Nakobe Dean and Nolan Smith are products of the system. Good talent, but Georgia hit his flaws. They were stacked. I hate to say it, but I kind of agree with Paul, bro.
Yeah, no, he's right. That team's stacked front to back, And when you got such a talented team as in Georgia, one guy could be bad on defense, but all of them are, you know what I mean? It's that hidden apple, that gem.
Yeah, Mike Lauro actually with the question that's actually on my mind, because I think it's the biggest weakness on this football team. Who's going to be wide receiver 3? I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's on this football team. I think Howie is looking at the waiver wire. He's looking at trade possibilities. I'll make a prediction right now. You know who I think's on this football team in a couple weeks, Sean?
Who?
Noah Brown. I'm calling it right now. Noah Brown is like a 4th or 5th receiver with the Houston Texans. He knows Kellen Moore. He knows the system. He was with Kellen Moore in Dallas, and it wouldn't shock me at all if Noah Brown's here in a couple weeks. Yeah, but you know what I don't understand? Dude, Sean, I'm with you, man, because I watch a lot of Raiders games. I can't understand how Hunter Renfro's not on a team. Like what? Like it almost makes you wonder, is it an attitude thing? Is it a contract thing? Like how is Hunter Renfrow not on a National Football League team, dude? Because he's certainly talented enough.
We got to ask the football experts at that, if we see it on Twitter. It's a very good question. Why? Exactly. But hopefully, or could it be, if it was in-house, does anybody have faith in Nagata? You know what I'm saying? But I think they go outside the box and get somebody on another team, like your Noah Brown, like you said, and I said Hunter Renfrow. But, hopefully it's either one of them.
Tell you who I would like this. I'd like Mike.
Yeah, but you got to trade, though, man.
You heard Mechie from Houston or Hunter Renfrow. I'll tell you what. I would trade for Mechie. I like that kid, man. That kid's quick.
He was good in Alabama. Yeah.
That kid is quick. He would add a dimension to this team, because here's the other thing too. I mean, of course you need a slot receiver, and but all right, let's keep it real. If AJ Brown were to be out for the year, you're kind of screwed. If Devontae Smith's out for the year, you're kind of screwed. But just say hypothetically they have to miss a game or two. Like we need somebody that can at least be competent. You know what I'm saying?
Well, exactly. If you were to get Michi, you're having jet packages. One on the outside, maybe 2 on the outside, and just burn them. Go down the field, or 10 and in, or 10. It's like you said, Joey. Pick your poison, because speed kills, bro. Plain and simple. I couldn't agree more. But I like to see Michi, but I don't see it. I see more of Hunter Renfrow.
Well, speaking of Renfrow, Mike Laura has a comment here saying Renfrow was hurt last season.
Yeah, I think it was.
So that's all right. So that's one thing. And I'll tell you what, when I think injuries, I think of my man Jason Fine, aka Attorney Big Al. Motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workers' compensation, or personal injury claims. Sean, man, you get hurt on the job, dude. Who you gonna call, man? That's my man is gonna get you paid, right?
Yes, he is. He's going to try his damn hardest to help you out.
Yeah, so he's got 3 office locations throughout Pennsylvania, New Jersey, 1 in Philadelphia, PA, 1 in Cherry Hill, and 1 in Pittsburgh. So, obviously professional. Hunter Renfroe didn't need to call his ass. Plus, he was in Vegas. So,
Yeah.
Hunter Renfroe, even though he's out of work right now, he made a pretty good buck the last couple of years. I think he's all right.
Oh yeah, he's good. He's good.
So, but anyway, got another comment here. Michael Papernick Jr. says, "I'm going long shot that Howie goes after Adam Thielen as wide receiver number 3." I'd be okay with that. Is Thielen still in Carolina?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. The only thing, I mean, I agree with him. The only thing is, though, it's like Bryce Young was so terrible last year, and Carolina, would Carolina want to hold on to a veteran like Thielen just so they could develop the quarterback? You know what I'm saying? Like,
nah, I think they have high praise for that rookie guy they drafted, Xavier Legette from South Carolina.
Okay.
So, to Mike Peppernick's question, it can happen.
John Michael says, "I heard Renfroe was working for Green Thumb."
I need him for my lawn then. Tell him to come over, John.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Oh, wait, hang on. The only problem with the Thielen trade is as caught 103 balls last year. Yeah, well, I know they probably would want something for him, but
yeah.
I'll tell you what. Speaking of rookies, because you were talking about rookies.
Yeah.
Do you happen to see any? Did you happen to see any of Caleb Williams? Did you see that throw he made the other day?
Yeah.
Tell you what, man. I don't want to go
raving about him because he's a Bears fan. He really sees the Bears being special this year. They got there, and I was watching Hard Knocks a little bit. They invested in that one pick in Caleb. I love the Rocker Purse Williams.
Hey, man.
Hey,
tell you what. I know he paints his fingernails and all that shit. But if he could throw touchdowns, I don't think Chicago fans will give a shit, dude. They haven't had a quarterback since Sid Luckman.
You got that right, but that was a hell of a catch. The kid's special. They do have good wide receivers in DJ Moore and Adunis, the rookie, and Keenan Allen, and a great tight end. So something like similar to here. But
tell you what, I was gonna say in the next week or two, I want to get into actual football predictions. But we'll get into that later. But
absolutely, okay.
John Michael says, "Dude, the kid is a straight up weirdo, but I gotta tell you, he looks kind of good. I hope our weirdo kid on the Sixers is good too." Yeah, that's true.
You hit on both notes.
Michael Papernick Jr. says Caleb Williams looks good, and they have DeAndre Swift. Yeah, I'll tell you, the Bears could surprise some people. And here's another thing too. When we get into division predictions, that's a tough ass division, bro. I mean, look at that division. You got the Detroit Lions. I mean, I want to say almost kind of like America's team last year. I mean, I think everybody a lot of America I mean, I know I was rooting for the Lions in the championship game. You know what I mean? Like, just so you got the Detroit Lions. You got Green Bay. Green Bay really came on as the year went on. Jordan Love all of a sudden looked like he took at least 2 steps forward, right? And now you got,
Quick question.
Sure.
Does Jordan Love regress or progress?
I think he progressed. I kind of like that kid.
You think he's gonna do well even with that money he got? Do you know how some guys get that money and they?
Nah, I like the kid, man. He showed. You know what? He showed me a lot. Beating Dallas in Dallas showed me something, and then I know they lost in San Francisco, but he showed me something that game too. Like that kid showed me something, dude.
You couldn't have said it better. That inclement weather, but he balled out. You're right.
Nah,
it's so true. But like you said, you got. Sorry to interrupt you. You had your Green Bay, your Minnesota, your Detroit. That division's heavy. It's tough. You're right.
Well, even Minnesota. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, it was only one preseason game. It's a shame, but by a lot of accounts, that J.J. McCarthy kid was looking pretty good. I mean, I don't know how good he's going to be, but I'll tell you what, you couldn't have, if you're a young quarterback, you couldn't have picked a better team to go to. I mean, you're coming to a team with like Aaron Jones as running back. You got Justin Jefferson. You got the kid they drafted at wide receiver. I'm drawing a blank.
Jordan Addison.
That's it, Jordan Addison. Yeah,
Hawkinson.
Yeah. I mean, you got that Minnesota team's got a lot of freaking weapons, and the funny thing is that if you're making, I mean, I'm sitting here making division predictions. I mean, I would probably say Minnesota going into the season might be the worst team in that division, and I'll tell you what, for being the worst team in the division, they're actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a bad football team.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully, Darnold plays somewhat good, like he did in Carolina, not so much. But like you said, yeah, I mean, the team is good.
Yeah, Dave Yarnell says, "Hey guys, how about Brandon Aubrey kicking a 66-yard field goal for the boys? Wow, yeah, it was a long kick. Now is he? Dave? And by the way, on Wednesday nights you could check out the 215 boys. They break down all Cowboys stuff, and of course, Sean. I mean, obviously we hate the freaking Cowboys, but it's cool to get a different team's perspective. You know what I'm saying? Now, Dave, maybe you could answer: does he have a chance at that kicking job though? Because from what I understand, their kicker was really struggling a couple years ago in the playoffs, but he had a really good year, I thought, last year.
Yeah. Didn't they draft that kicker? They drafted the kicker.
They the kid Aubrey?
I think so.
All right, well then if that's the case, hey, look, if he's pounding out 66 yarders, it's kind of hard to get rid of the fucking guy. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's the case, Joe. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I didn't. Like I said, I didn't see that. So, hey, if you're kicking a 66-yarder, even if you're Adam Vinatieri in your prime, you might possibly lose your job. You know what I mean? With a leg like that.
True.
Got another comment here. Michael Packard Jr. says Carolina made a mistake by drafting Bryce Young.
Well, that's why. What's the name? Frank Reich. I mean, you could basically blame the GM. But the fall guy was Frank Reich, because they wanted Trout. But here we are, Bryce Young,
Can you imagine if Carolina just say Bryce Young busts the fuck out, right?
Yeah.
So you're Carolina, you basically gave the Bears Caleb Williams. Now imagine if Caleb Williams is like another. I'm not going to say another Mahomes because, dude, Mahomes is so special. Like, you know what I mean? That's not really fair to say Caleb Williams could be another Mahomes. But just say Caleb Williams is an extremely talented quarterback, and Bryce Young busts out. Boy, if you're a Carolina fan, you're like sick to your absolute stomach, bro.
Well, whatever bridge is there, they're jumping off it.
Hang on, I got another comment here. Okay, yeah, all right. Dave Yarnell says Aubrey is the starter. That was Brett Maher who was struggling. Okay, yeah, I thought so. All right, no problem. But I thought he kind of failed himself a little bit last year. And like you said, if they drafted this kid, then I'm sure they're moving on.
True.
Got another comment here. They say Bryce Young is 5'10", 205 pounds. The kid looks all of 180. Yeah, I never really loved Bryce Young coming out, Sean. I remember we did the college show. I don't think either of us really liked him that much, did we?
No. It's a shame. He's an athlete, but he's very undersized.
Well, the funny thing is, he's not even that great of an athlete. Like remember when the quarterbacks were coming out, like you had Stroud was kind of a pocket passer, and then the athlete of the group was Anthony Richardson, who, by the way, I'm looking at like a lot of like mock fantasy drafts. A lot of people are hyping up Anthony Richardson as like a sleeper in because I got my draft coming up one of my drafts coming up this Sunday, and a lot of people.
Is that our draft?
Not our draft. No, our draft's the next week. But I got a work draft coming up Sunday, and a lot of people are saying Anthony Richardson is like a hell of a sleeper because he could be that dual threat. That like he looks really good in training camp.
Joey, let them jump on him. Let them trounce on him early. That's when you make that move and get the stud player. I love that. I like that when people say that.
Well, you don't think Anthony Richardson could have a pretty good year, though?
Yeah, I do, but I'm not drafting him early. That's for damn sure.
Well, no, I'm not talking about early. I mean, you look. Oh, absolutely. You look. I mean, the early guys would be like what, like Josh Allen. Probably Jalen Hurts because he runs a lot in. Lamar Jackson. Like. I'll tell you, who I think is going to have a hell of a year in fantasy too. Not to go on a tangent. I think Kyler Murray's going to be a hell of a fantasy pick this year.
Really? Okay.
I do. I think people are going to sleep on him. Because think about it, dude. That Arizona team actually has some friggin' weapons, bro. They went out and They went out and got Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft. You got the tight end. I'm drawing.
Trey McBride.
That's it. Okay. I was gonna say it's funny because I've literally been thinking about the draft this week, and I was on TikTok the other night, and literally I'm like Trey McBride. I'm like there's certain tight ends I'm kind of targeting like around the middle rounds, and I'm like Trey McBride. I'm like Trey McBride could be like another Kittles. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like that kid, bro.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'll talk to you later about it. Dalton Kincaid.
Oh well, yeah. Well, I think most people. I mean, Kincaid's probably because you think. I mean, he might be the number one weapon in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I think a lot of people are looking at like a Dalton Kincaid, and then of course, if you're looking at tight ends, maybe how about the Raiders taking the kid from Alabama? What's he going to do? You know what I'm saying?
Georgia.
I'm sorry, I meant Georgia, right? Yeah, I had Alabama on the brain because I was thinking about Bryce Young.
Brock Bowers.
We get one more comment here before we get ready to wrap up. Michael Kaepernick Jr. says Bryce Young won't hold up physically. The only hope he has is that all of a sudden he gets Dan Marino quick release and Michael Vick speed. Yeah, I think that kid's going to have some issues.
Yeah, he needs to watch those highlight reels.
And that's a shame because, that's a division that's there for the taking. I mean, we talked about the NFC North and how tough the NFC North is. You look at the NFC South. I mean, the NFC South is just wide open. I mean, Tampa Bay won it last year, but like, look at a team like the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, Atlanta Falcons go out and they go get Kirk Cousins. They get Judon. They just signed the safety. What was it? Simmons this past week.
Oh, Justin Simmons.
They just signed Justin Simmons, I think Friday. So now
wow.
Yeah, now there's a guy. How many years in a row have people been talking about Kyle Pitts as a fantasy sleeper?
Yeah.
I'm pounding the table, as Mike Mayock would say back before he went to the Raiders and sucked balls. And when he was on NFL Network, I'm pounding the table. Kyle Pitts, bro. Kirk Cousins loves using the tight end, man. I think Kyle Pitts this could be a breakout year.
Archbishop Wood, University of Florida. Yeah, it would be nice.
I think this could be his breakout year, and because listen, I'm guilty, bro. 2 years ago, I took Kyle Pitts in like the third or fourth round. I was like, oh, he's gonna break out, dude. He didn't do shit, bro.
Yeah, you and my brother.
He didn't do shit. You know what I mean? But in all fairness, he had what? not Chris Redmond. Who was their shitty quarterback last year? Chris Redmond was their quarterback years ago. So
Yeah.
who the hell was it, dude? The kid from Cincinnati. Remember, dude? I can't even remember. I can't even remember his name.
Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, yeah. There's a big difference between Desmond Ritter throwing to you and like a solid veteran like Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. I got the 4th pick in my draft. So.
Oh, 4th. Wow, that's cool. I'm trying to think. 4th. That's an interesting spot. So let's see. Let's break it down real quick. So you got McCaffrey's probably consensus number 1, probably most drafts, correct?
Yeah.
All right, now number 2, it gets a little interesting, right? I mean, number 2, I mean, it could be, could somebody have balls and take like a Breece Hall, or does somebody go with the wideout? Like a number 2 could be maybe like what, like a CD Lamb?
Yeah, I would take CD Lamb.
All right. So then we get to number 3, another kick-ass wideout, like see, I think Justin Jefferson might slide a little bit just because he doesn't have a quarterback, right? I mean,
there's always that person that likes him because he's that talented of a wide receiver, but that would be nice at 3. Take him. I'll be happy.
Nah, I don't know though.
St. Brown goes probably.
See, I feel like St. Brown's like a 5th or 6th pick.
I hear you. I mean, I got him on my radar at 3 or at 4th. Brown or Tyreek Hill for me.
Oh, dude, I'm forgetting Tyreek Hill. Well, Tyreek Hill might go 3rd. There you go. It's because Tyreek Hill would be like around the 3-4 range.
I hope that don't happen. I hope he falls in my lap. So
then you kind of get into like the Breece Halls. A lot of people are loving a lot of people are hyping up Bijan Robinson this year as like a top 7 pick. You know, they think Bijan Robinson's going to be that dual threat.
I hope to see Barkley or Derrick Henry down my way. That'd be beautiful.
I'll tell you what, last year I thought I drafted a hell of a team last year, right? My first 2 picks were Jamar Chase and Garrett Wilson. You talk about getting fucked, bro. I did royally because Aaron Rodgers gets hurt the first game, and then Burrow gets hurt, right? But if both those quarterbacks are healthy, dude, I think I'd be looking pretty good with Jamar Chase and Garrett Wilson. I think that they would have put up some serious numbers. And next thing you know, I'm like, I'm boned,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers running out for the national anthem and then tearing his ACL. That was like my fantasy football team. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I'm boned,
Yeah. I'll tell you what, nice. How about if we made a trade and we got T. Higgins here with all that contract bullshit?
Yeah, I don't see.
Hypothetically, I'm just saying it's crazy, but yeah, it ain't happening. But it would be nice.
Yeah, that would be great. I don't see anything like that. I mean, I think if Howie makes a trade, it would be like the kid we said, like Michi or Mechie or whatever, however you say his name.
True.
Let's wrap up in a minute. Real quick, because a lot of people got drafts this coming week and the next week. We got into fantasy a little bit. Who's your favorite? Do you have a particular fantasy sleeper, or you don't want to? Oh no, we probably don't want to give it away. Never mind. Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say, well, you know what? All right, just make pretend nobody in your draft's watching. Who's your fantasy sleeper? I got one. I'll put mine out there. I don't care.
Yeah.
I've been doing fantasy football since 1989, bro. I was 11 years. I was 11 years old. We did this, John. We did that. In fact, sometimes I get mad because I watch all these dudes on like these shows, and I think to myself, dude, I'm like, we should have done these shows. I've been doing this shit since I was 11 years old.
Exactly.
We used to have to cut the shit. We used to have to cut this. We did touchdown only. We used to have to cut it out of the newspaper. You know what I mean?
I remember that.
The one guy, my Uncle Bob's friend, Bill McKenzie, he used to do a newsletter, and it was funny as shit, man. He would like rip. He would like rip people. You know what I mean? Like we would bust balls and shit. And Oh man, you know what's ironic? Fantasy football is made for the computers, and like I sound like such an old head saying this. I enjoyed it more when you had to cut the stats out of the paper because it was
No,
I don't know, it was more personal, you know.
no, it was. You looked forward to getting the daily news. Exactly. Like I remember, like with football, high school football. Yo, man, like I would tell you, yo, Judge beat Ryan or whatever.
Yeah.
Wood, stuff like that, man. That's
the other thing was too when you made a trade, you actually had to call the person on the phone.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like again, I don't want to go, huh?
You had to get like authority, like yo, I got this player straight up. Do you want to do it? Yeah. Well, then you had to call the commissioner.
I know. I know. I don't want to go on a tangent here, but but truth be told, I still love the draft. Like the fantasy football drafts are like they're two of my favorite days of the whole year because we just grub it up, have some beers, laugh and joke.
Fun, man.
That's what it's all about. But if I had to be honest with you, when you take the draft out of it, I'm not nearly as into. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll still try to win. I mean, not only because I want to win, but also for the integrity of the league. But I mean, if I had to be 100,000,000% honest with you, for me, it's all about the draft. Like if I wasn't in it, I would miss the draft. But the actual like fantasy football, and I think, dude, and honestly, I think FanDuel and DraftKings kind of took something out of it too, because like, not only do you have your fantasy league, but now if you want, now it's like on a Sunday, dude, I got a million things going on. Like I might have a couple small bets, you know what I mean? Like I have a couple little bets. I got 2 leagues, Eagles. I don't even know what the hell I'm watching.
Not only that, you can make another fantasy team, like that quick pick fantasy team for Sunday. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So you're right. It takes the old school, out, couldn't agree more.
Here's kind of a question for football in general and also fantasy to a point. Michael Kaepernick Jr. says, with Mixon out as running back, who is the new starting running back in Cincinnati? Isn't it a battle between Brown and Moss, right?
I'm going to tell you who it is. It's Sidney Brown's brother. It's going to be
Chase Brown?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Again, not to give away too many secrets, but if you're looking for a sleeper running back, a good football team like Cincinnati, a guy like Chase Brown would probably be a really good guy to get in the middle rounds. If you think about it, you know what I mean? They're the kind of you want to get guys that are on teams that score a lot of points, and if Joe Burrow is healthy, they should be scoring a lot of points. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Yo, bro, I better wrap up before I give away like my whole fantasy. Like before everybody takes all my picks at this draft.
Go Fightins, go Phillies.
Yep.
Go Eagles. See you next week.
Yep. See you next week. Yeah, let's hope for 6-0. But hey, if we get 4-2, not too bad. And Eagles by this time next week, I guess we'll be getting ready for week 1. So we'll break down the final roster.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, and shout out to the Sixers for signing that French dude. I forget his name, but he's the dude that dunked on. We brought it up at the beginning of the show. He's the dude that dunked on LeBron. So if you could dunk on LeBron,
do it again, LeBron. If you hear it.
Yeah. The other thing that's kind of cool about him too is he's a former Celtic. And wouldn't it be nice to like if we play them in the playoffs and he goes and shits on them? You know what I mean?
Shits on Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
It definitely would be nice. So, all right, everybody. Well, thanks for checking out the show. Go Phils, go Birds, and we'll see you all next week. Good luck in your fantasy drafts.